Cecile, bienvenue sur le podcast.
Merci, j'adore. Tu parles français?
Ouais. If I had to do it in French, it would be a very short podcast. But I actually Google translated that.
That's cool.
Yeah. So how the fuck is everything with you, Cecile?
I'm good, thanks.
Yeah?
I'm super happy to be here.
Good. I'm happy that you're here.
Yes.
You know, because I saw that you opened up for Alan Carr.
Yes.
And I was like, that must be an amazing experience.
It was.
And when you posted it, I couldn't make it, but I was like, oh, I need to talk to you about that.
Well, the thing is, the booking came quite late on me.
Yeah.
I guess I got an SMS like 5 days in advance.
Yeah.
First, I was like, is this true? Am I reading correctly?
Yeah.
Plus, the venue was very big. It was a big theater. It's Folketeatret.
Yeah.
So, but I was super happy. And so the guy is exactly like I could imagine off stage that he is on stage. Very likable, very friendly, very approachable. He had like, I guess, the shorter rider ever. He had like water on his list. So the backstage was very calm and quiet.
Yeah.
And so I got there in advance to prepare my gig because I had to do 20 minutes in English, but it was a bit longer than what I used to do in English. So I was like, oh shit. And plus it's Alan Carr and plus it's Folketeatret.
Yeah.
But he was like super chill, like super ready. He was like, this dress looks nice on you. So it was funny because he was like watching me, super concentrated on my jokes, pretty unsure why he was so chill.
Nice.
And the show was amazing, but I guess he's well rehearsed and super professional.
Yeah.
But he's a very friendly guy.
Wow, that
Yes.
sounds like like the best experience you could have hoped
exactly.
for. Yeah, and were you very nervous?
Yes, plus I was a bit starstruck on him, so I was
Yeah.
like, it feels a bit unreal somehow. But he's very, he's very friendly. So I had a big venue earlier this year at Oslo Concerthus.
Yeah.
And this is also, like 1,200 person, I guess. And at that time, I was not super comfortable with the crowd working part. Though when you are the warm-up part of the show, you should be able to somehow crowd work a bit to make the audience comfortable. But this time I dared to ask like very generic questions. Is there any Norwegians in the room? Actually, the most of the audience was Norwegian, I guess.
Yeah.
How many other nationalities do we have? Blah, blah, blah. So
Yeah.
I was happy that I dared a bit more to open up to the audience, just not concentrate on my texts, hidden back the microphone.
Yeah, because how did it go down? Did they? You were the first person on stage,
Exactly,
and there was a voiceover that said,
he voiced me over.
"Oh, nice! That's cool."
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
He was like, I love her. Well, we met 1 hour ago.
Yeah.
But he's so nice. I love her, and you're gonna love her too.
Wow.
So it was very nice. But then I started and asked, because he was also he's a very cool guy. He seemed to be both humble and happily surprised about how big venues he is able to fill in countries he had no idea even he was famous.
Yeah.
He told me this hilarious story about the fact that he was in Athens, in Greece, like filling up like 1,200 seats venues, and he himself was like, Jesus, I'm famous here. That's very strange.
Wow.
So he's a very humble guy. So it was fun.
Yeah. Okay.
And he's actually driving people in stand-up, which are a bit older than what we usually see in these clubs that you and me and a lot of other comedians are used to in Oslo.
Yeah.
It was like people about the age of my parents, 50, 60 plus.
Okay.
Having good fun. So that was cool. That was actually pretty cool. That it was a bit of everything.
Yeah.
Compared to the average age that you could see on more like classical stand-up venues in Oslo.
Yeah, because I mean, we do shows together where like maybe sometimes the average age of the audience might be like 22 or 23.
Yeah, exactly.
Or
like
25.
super young.
Really young. But I love the mixed audiences.
Yeah.
I love them. I love it when it's mixed ages,
Yes.
mixed genders,
yes.
and mixed cultures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was one of a big mix. It was very cool.
Well,
Also, I'm happy.
And what was the gig that you did at Oslo Concerthus then?
It was to warm up for Terje Jespersen.
Yeah.
He has
Oh, sorry. Did you hear that?
yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think we're good.
Okay. He has a show called Absolut Norsk,
Yeah.
and so which is a lot of jokes regarding the fact that Norway is very proud about being the world's best country in this and that, and a lot of things are very random to be the world's best country on.
Yeah.
And so I guess my text is often a bit like yours regarding the Norwegian culture as such. It was a perfect spot on regarding what the topics he takes up in his show.
So it was a good mix with you two then as well,
Exactly.
because you have an angle or an approach to Norwegian culture which is different.
Of course, but still
Yeah,
related,
but
and
still
he explicitly ordered the part of the text he knows that would match
Yeah.
what he would talk about afterwards. He's a super nice guy. Terrier is a
Yeah, I met him
very-
once actually.
yeah.
Yeah, he was. I think it was a corporate gig.
Really?
A long time ago, before I started doing stand up,
Oh, cool.
and he killed it.
Yeah, that I'm not surprised.
Absolutely killed it. I
Really?
think we were like in the middle of nowhere with like a bunch of some company, and he just murdered on stage.
Yeah, I'm full of admiration for him because he's such the kind of sympathetic guy.
Yeah.
You like him after 2 seconds,
Yeah.
then you start laughing when he starts acting.
Yeah.
It's very also his body language is amazing.
Yeah.
So the way he owns the stage is I admire that very much.
Well,
He's very warm.
I think you're also somebody who the audience likes after 2 seconds. Do you know what I mean? Like when I seen you perform twice recently, and the first time that I saw recently was at where were you? Josephinus.
Yes.
And I think like it was the end of the night, you were headlining, and you just went on stage and just lit the room up, and you were talking to people and like a lot of crowd work. And then I was, and I think I told you, I took photos of every other comedian when they were performing and posted it online. But then when you were performing, I forgot to get my phone out
Yeah,
just
you
because I
told
was
me.
so engaged.
That's cool.
Yeah. But I think, I mean, you're like, you're the same person on stage as off stage. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, I am. It's a good question, though, Inia. It
Thank
makes me
you.
think a bit.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
No, well, so obviously my texts are based on my life and on true stories, but
Thank you.
they are not fully true. They are,
No.
of course, exaggerated. So that's a part of the answer, although it's not who I am. It's just, what's my story.
Mm.
And second of all, I guess I am a bit more, the colors are much exaggerated compared to who I am actually.
Yeah.
I'm a bit more quiet, I'd say, in the real life than on stage.
Really?
The being on stage pumps me like it's another level.
Yeah.
Adrenaline, energy that
Yeah.
makes me super happy, but that's not the level of energy I
No.
have in the rest of life.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way as well. I'll save a lot of things for the stage.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
No,
I
that's
don't like
exactly
if I'm hanging out with friends, I don't need to be like entertaining them the whole time
No,
and
exactly.
throwing. Sometimes it's like that, but I like like before I'm going on stage, I'm the most boring person you'll ever meet. You know,
I don't believe
yeah,
you. That
no,
I don't believe, but perhaps more quiet.
I'm just sitting there, like, just chilling. People are always like, are you okay? Are you tired? I'm like, no, man, just chilling. You know what I mean? Because then when I'm going on stage, depending on the room, I'm like, let's go. We are going for it.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I don't want to, like, burn through
No,
the
no.
stage energy.
No.
Just, like, talking shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And exactly, then I recognize myself there. And also, I think I have also anxieties about, like, for example, my children. Do I do the right things? And then I think it's very good fun to use it in comedy to also expose all the funny things that is to raise children. But in the real life, I have true questions in my head regarding am I doing the right thing, or regarding work, or regarding family. But then it gets me inspiration to make fun about this in real life. But
Yeah.
so that's the difference.
It is fun making fun of the kids.
Yeah, and making fun of what's actually takes room in your heart or in your head,
Yeah.
trying to see the positive or the funny part of it.
Yeah.
Yes, because I usually joke, for example, that I have 3 children, and I have to stop because I don't have room in my car. But my children are very close, and it was actually sometimes very a bumpy road emotionally and physically to have 3 close children. So it has been great, but it's been tough, very tough.
Yeah.
I have had postpartum depression, and so I think it's fun to just try to tweak it in a funny way on stage so that people between the lines can read, well, that must have been an intense period of life, and then you can make funny jokes about it. I think it's very refreshing.
I think it's healthy too. Do you know what I mean? Like if you went through something like a postnatal depression, like that's a kind of serious thing to go through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that if you can go on stage, and talk about it and make fun about it and make people laugh about it, like I think it's got to do something cathartic for you as well.
Exactly.
Like like a kind of healing in a way, maybe.
Yeah. Do you do that yourself?
Sometimes, yeah.
So,
Yeah. I have a great example about this. I actually, in Easter, I had heart problems.
Okay.
I felt like I had heart problems. I was like, oh my God, my chest hurts. My chest hurts. And my girlfriend's a nurse, and she's like, we're calling the ambulance. I was like, oh, I don't think you need to. They're on their way. And I had an ambulance in my fucking bedroom, like 10 minutes later.
Okay.
And they put the EKG on me, and they go, we got to take you to hospital. And I went down to hospital, and then I had to stay in hospital for all day, and they were monitoring me and doing all these different checks. And then I was just lying in this hospital room by myself, and my girlfriend came and picked me up, and then we drove past Lincoln, and I go, oh, they're doing comedy there. Can you drop me off? I'm going to go in and see if I can do a spot. And then I went in and I just talked about the experience that I had. And, how, because I was a bit scared, during that day.
Of course, I can't hardly imagine. But that's cool that you right away.
And it wasn't anything prepared. It was just like, this is what happened to me today, guys. Can you fucking believe it? Like, I thought that maybe I was having a heart attack, and now here I am fucking drinking beers with you savages. You know what I mean? So for me, it was cleansing. My girlfriend's like, I think you should just go home and rest. I'm like, nah, I'm celebrating life, because 8 hours ago, I thought maybe this could be, some fucking huge problem. And I got like, all green light, go. And I just felt, wow, so refreshed.
Cool. So what happened to your heart?
I don't know. Nothing happened to my heart. I just had pain in my chest, but I think I was like maybe doing a lot of push-ups or something. You know what I mean? Like, I think it was, I'm not sure, but my father died of a heart attack.
Okay, so obviously.
So there's some genetic, I'll probably die of a heart attack eventually. So I guess, right? Doesn't that how it works? Like, I don't know. I think I think it's something that you have to take into consideration, right? Like a genetic heart defect.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I have one of those things, but because my dad died, my girlfriend's like hyper vigilant.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
Okay, look,
and she's a nurse. That's very sexy. How did you meet?
We met on Tinder.
In Norway?
Yeah.
Is she Norwegian?
She's Norwegian.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you didn't come for love? You came to Norway for other reasons?
I actually was dating a Swedish girl, and we lived together, and she was living in Oslo, and then I was an exchange student.
Okay.
So I couldn't get into Sweden because I wasn't a very good exchange student. But in Oslo, they'll take anybody. So then I came here. So it was kind of for love and then kind of for studying.
So you came from
Sydney.
So you came from Australia to Scandinavia and you stayed basically.
Yeah, basically. Well, I loved it here.
Yeah.
So it didn't work out with the Swedish girl. She fucked another dude within the first week.
Oh,
I know.
that's refreshing.
Isn't it? I'm glad I found that one out early. Yeah, very koselig. And then I had a very good life with all the other students, and I was studying, and I had a lot going on. I was like, and then when my year came to an end, I was like, I don't think I want to go home. No. I'm gonna stay and see if I can extend my program. And then I could, and then I got some other chick pregnant, and now I've got 2 kids and a dog. Yeah,
that's a short summary of a very nice story.
That's it. It's a short summary of a nice story.
But that's the same chick?
No.
The nurse?
No.
That's another one.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus,
I have 2 kids with 2 different women.
Okay.
Yeah, and a dog with a 3rd woman.
And it's
and a dog, an English bulldog. So yeah, I mean, I'll probably end up having another kid with this chick too. Isn't that?
So you will have your 3 children, you too.
Yeah, I'm gonna need a bigger car.
Exactly.
Yeah. How about you? Why did you come to Norway?
Love. I met a Norwegian when I was studying in Germany. So yeah.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No. When I moved to Germany, I thought, okay, I'll stay here. I got a job. I marry a German guy. But then I didn't fall in love with the German culture. No. I loved the language. Yeah. I think it was a very interesting one. Yeah. I was very a nerd with the German language when I came to Germany. But then the whole daily life was very strict and very A4 and very German.
Yeah, I get
Too German for me.
Yeah.
And then I met this very refreshing Norwegian guy, very, very funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, I moved back to Paris, finished my studies, and then moved to Oslo in 2010.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. So you've been here for a while.
I've been here for a while, yes.
Yeah, nice.
And you, how long have you been in Norway now?
Oh, 14 years.
14?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's also a while.
It's a long time. Yeah. I don't feel Norwegian, though.
No, you don't?
Do you?
No, it's strange. Sometimes I do feel very Norwegian when I'm in Paris. Yeah. Suddenly I feel like I'm disconnected from some discussions with my old childhood friends or some behaviors I can observe in streets or restaurants, or like, wow, I feel kind of a foreigner. Yeah. So like the Norwegian way of being has kind of impacted me. Like when I see people fighting in the metro, I'm like, oh Jesus, I became very like anti-conflict Norwegian style. Like,
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
But on the other side, I will never be fully Norwegian either. You know, you don't. And I'm super proud of being French, speaking French to my children, and making French food at home. And so, well, we try to build both cultures under one roof.
It's like the question of integration is it's a kind of tricky one, you know?
It is, yeah, I agree.
Because like, let's say your culture and my culture and the Norwegian culture, even though there are differences, they're pretty similar.
Yes.
Like it's based on Western values and,
exactly.
you know, we have similar values and things like that. But like, I can understand how people who come from the Middle East or from Asia or even from Africa with completely, like a completely different kind of culture
Yeah.
would struggle.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, because I struggle.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I agree with
Yeah.
that.
So it's like, it's like, what do you do? Do you know what I mean? How do you get somebody to be more integrated? And it seems like you have to learn the language. I think it's difficult to be integrated into a culture without learning the language.
Yes, I agree.
And then once you learn the language, it seems like you can see things through the perspective of that culture via the language, but you still always have this filter inside of you which you grew up with, which makes you not like certain things or like certain other things in a different way, you know?
I fully agree. And when I think the ugly truth, and it's the case for Norway, and it's the case for France and probably Australia, is that people don't have the same openness if you come to a Western country, to their country, whereas if you come to Africa or Asia, where they might have been, for example, the fact that I speak my own language to my children is like, wow, they can speak French. I'm not sure if the reaction would have been so enthusiastic. It would have been a very different language from another part of the world.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? When you're French and you come with this French background or Australian one, people tend to have very positive association to it, at least in Norway.
Yeah.
But so that I think it's unfair a bit. How proud or how much you can actually carry your own culture further to your children without being ashamed or without having to hide it a bit. My father grew up from Italian parents in France. He doesn't speak Italian because they spoke French to him. Because
so
at that time, Italian was like, oh, they do a lot of noise.
Yeah.
They do a lot of children. They're poor. There's a lot of criminality in Italian neighborhoods in France. So they were trying to hide and minimize as much as possible the Italian heritage for that him to be well integrated at school and seen as a good pupil and so on.
Okay.
So my father is 100% Italian, but he doesn't speak a word of Italian, exactly because his parents at their time were not super comfortable of being fully Italians immigrated to France.
I got you. So then they went the other direction. They went like super, you're going to be super in French.
Yes.
Yeah,
and
okay.
I think it's difficult. And I also have another example, which is interesting. My sister moved to the US, and she doesn't speak French to her children, probably because she doesn't see the absolute need of them being able to speak French in a country where they were born and they will grow up and stay.
Yeah.
They speak very good English and Spanish.
Okay.
Well, because the father, my sister's husband, is from Central America.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very strange how much where do you put the line in between doing things that are very local versus being true to your family, your culture, your heritage. It's difficult.
It is difficult. My father was Maori. From New Zealand.
Yes.
And it's a very small population.
It is.
And he grew up speaking Maori.
Okay.
And then we learned Maori as kids.
Did?
Yeah, we learned it.
That's very cool.
Yeah, but it was never a language that I was able to practice very much.
No, okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, it's like, okay, I
who
could...
would you talk to with exactly?
My mum didn't know Maori.
Okay.
My dad knew Maori.
Okay.
And my uncles and my cousins knew Maori. And I would talk like a little bit of Maori here and there, but I never really nailed. Even when I went to boarding school in New Zealand, we did like lessons in Maori and Maori language and stuff like that. But it's such a marginal, like it's what like it seems like there's a lot of languages that are dying out. You know what I mean? And I don't think French is one of those languages. But
no, but there is so many people in the world speaking French. It's amazing. Like there is so many countries having French as official language.
Yeah,
it will not die out. But we have regional languages that have struggled in France.
Oh yeah,
because Napoleon at his time was saying everybody speaks French now. We cut the crap with all these local languages. But then suddenly in the 60s, in the 70s and the 80s, some schools in France in different parts, like Brittany, Pays Basque, Corsica, suddenly restarted to re-teach these local languages, which are not French, but which were also considered as not as holistic as the pure French language.
Are they similar to French?
No.
So you can't have a conversation with somebody from Brittany or Corsica or...
No. Brittany is a Celtic language.
Really?
Same than Irish stuff, which is very different to French. And now in 2022, if you go to Brittany in France, you can put the radio in this language. You wouldn't understand a word. But they have managed to rebuild this kind of local proudness of cultural heritage that has been some partially also put aside during centuries before.
Wow. And that was because of Napoleon.
Yeah, he was the one saying we have to centralize, we have to standardize. He did a lot of good things, though. But on this one, it's... so that's the fact that French people now associate the way that you speak properly French to your level of education, for me, it was very surprising to see in Norway that you can be the prime minister and having an enormous dialect from Bergen. Was very different from what I was used to.
Oh wow.
So all the elite in France speaks this perfect Parisian French.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's different, I guess.
What else did Napoleon do?
Well, he had this law code where he was not very willing to have gender equality.
No.
So in France, for example, I guess it's just recently been stopped, but you couldn't, as a woman, actually, in theory, go with jeans or pants. You had to go with shorts or skirts.
Really? Shit.
Or dress.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's a dumb rule.
He has also contributed a lot with big infrastructures, roads, bridges.
Yeah.
He was a clever guy, but he put Europe upside down with wars.
Yeah, because he was in a lot of wars. There's
lot.
the Napoleonic Wars, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
the fact that Norway became a part of Sweden is because of Napoleon.
Really?
Because the Kiel Treaty. I'm sorry, I don't know how to speak that in English, but
Yeah.
when Norway was a part of Denmark, and
Yeah.
then because of the Napoleon War, Norway was given as a part of the compensation to the Swedish, because Napoleon lost war at that point.
Oh wow.
So my Norwegian boyfriend, the first things he said when we date was like, my fucking country was part of fucking Sweden for 100 years because of fucking Napoleon.
Holy shit.
It was like, we have to talk about this.
Damn. So Napoleon kind of redrew the map.
Yeah.
Damn.
And he
Holy
lost a lot of war, but when you're French at school, you only learn what he wins.
Yes.
So Austerlitz. But then when you try to travel the world and you realize it's Waterloo, for example.
Yeah.
Like,
Did he win or lose at Waterloo?
He lose at Waterloo.
Is that where he died?
No,
No,
he
okay.
died in exile because he was sent away on an island.
That's right. They sent him away in exile. Holy shit. Who sent him? The English?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, they're like, we got to get this motherfucker. He's too much of a problem.
He was from Corsica.
Yeah, okay.
So, but the fact that you have this train between Paris and London called Eurostar,
Yeah.
in French, l'Eurostar,
Yeah, beautiful.
and and it was funny because for years it had arrived at Waterloo station, and it was each time I traveled there, I was like, is it a fuck in our face from British to French people, like making us arrive at Waterloo station, like friendly reminder, you lost, losers.
Because is that where Napoleon fought at Waterloo in England? Is that where the war was?
I'm not sure, but I just find it funny that the name of the station where all
Yeah.
French people, like centuries later, arrive, the first things they hear
Yeah.
about London is Waterloo. But French and English people have a long story of hating each other.
They hate each other.
Of course.
They hate
but
each
I guess
other.
the whole world hates French people.
Yeah, why is that? Are you guys just
I'm not sure,
assholes?
yeah.
What the you have a reputation of
Yes,
being
don't
fucking
we?
assholes. Yeah.
Yeah.
But when I was in Paris, everybody was very nice to me.
Yeah, well,
I
we're
don't know.
nice, actually.
Yeah, I wonder why. Like, because another reputation that the French have is that they're very arrogant.
Yeah, that's true.
The French, like,
That's true. They're very like what they call in Norwegian besserwisser. Like you know everything better than the others. They explain to you how it is. It's very annoying.
Yeah.
And I realized that because on the other hand, Scandinavians can be very modest. Well, there is always contradictory when you see how competitive they get at sports, for example. But they still have this very attitude of being very modest. At least Norwegians are very like low profile. And sometimes I realize that French people don't even realize how arrogant they seem when they arrived in Norway, explaining, oh, in France it's like this, in France it's like this. They were like very teaching people. It's very annoying.
Yeah, that's fucking annoying as
Yeah.
shit. Imagine if you invite somebody over to your house
Yeah,
and you're
exactly.
cooking dinner. They're like, no, this is how you should chop the
Yeah,
onions.
no, that's typically French.
Ah,
Yes.
wow. But
And-
you're not like that. Are you?
I
don't know,
guess
you're
no. I guess I became very Norwegian on that one. So I'm the one being annoyed, being like, oh Jesus. But what about Australian people? Love them, right?
Yeah, Australians are pretty relaxed.
Yes, and I never heard anything negative about Australian people.
No, Australians, like the population generally, they're kind of cool. Generally,
Okay.
you know what I mean? Everybody's very friendly and very open, and it's a very nice society, and you make friends pretty easily.
Okay.
You know,
Is it true friends or is it like American friends that are very superficial?
I mean, it starts off as like, let's just say I met you and we talked for like 20 minutes or something, and I was like, hey, you know, I'm having a barbecue. You want to bring the kids, whatever? Meet up at I don't know you that well, but then you come and we get to know each other over
That's
time,
cool.
and you know, maybe we form a friendship, and then it becomes true friends.
Yeah, okay.
But I know
That's
I know what you're talking about, like with America, because you don't always know where you're standing with somebody because they're just like
Super
super
polite.
friendly,
No,
like
exactly,
that.
exactly,
Hello,
exactly.
fantastic to see you.
Exactly.
Amazing.
Exactly.
And you're like, what? That's not how people talk in real life.
No,
What are you
exactly.
doing?
Yeah.
You don't even know me.
Mm.
Yeah. You must go to America a lot though if your sister lives there.
Exactly. And sometimes it's very confusing on exactly what you described, this attitude of being very all over the top.
Yeah.
And then you it's hard to scrap and think, okay, what is it inside? Is it true friendships or is it just politeness? You see?
Yeah, I have a bit of a different view of Americans because I know a lot of Americans through jiu-jitsu.
Ah, you do jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Oh, that's so cool.
It's very cool. So I go to a lot of jiu-jitsu training camps and I meet up a lot of Americans there. And they are, I mean, almost all of them I've met have been very cool and very open and very friendly. But we've been living together for a week as well. Do you know what I mean? So that kind of, I'm very rarely in America, like just meeting random people on the street. It's often through a particular passion that we both share.
Okay.
Like say like you and me, for example. Like if I'd never met you before, I'd never seen you doing stand-up or anything like that, and I just met you, and I go, what do? You go, I do comedy. I go, oh my, I do comedy. We'd automatically have common passion point to discuss. And if you're doing comedy, even though you're completely different from me, we still have a similarity that unites us. So that's basically been the extent of my friendships with people from America.
Okay.
So it's always been based around something that we both love.
Which is nice.
It's really nice.
Yeah.
You know, when you can meet somebody that has a passion for the same thing that you do, you just click.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, of course.
You have a lot of comedian friends?
I do. Well, I do. I've been in the stand-up for 10 years, and I have 2 friends. No, I'm kidding. I have no. I have very close friends from stand-up, most women. I guess for both because it's just like how the chemistry happened, but also because I guess when I started, it's a bit better now, but it was very few women, so we tend to very like stick together.
Yeah.
And now I actually having a lot of also free time with comedians, both to write text, but also just to hang out, which is very nice.
Oh, so you're meeting up with them on the side from performing as well? Often
Yeah.
then?
I usually, anyway, I see an enormous value of exchanging ideas regarding text writing, comedy writing.
Yeah. When you meet up with your friends to exchange ideas for text, how do you normally do that?
Well, we do a round around the table. So the one was like, I have 3 things. Can you just help me on these 3 things?
Yeah.
The first thing is blah, 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 blah. And I don't know how to crack that nut. And somebody would say, if you say this one, just before you say that, then suddenly we are with you on the premise of the joke, and then it gets very funny because blah, blah.
Yeah, okay. So
So you come with ideas.
Yeah, so you turn up to the meeting or to the hangout or
with like bullet points on a page. And then,
Yeah,
and then you
okay.
get help on making it good comedy texts.
And do you do it in a structured way where you say like, okay, now we'll work on what you want to work on, and then we'll move around the table?
Yes,
Ah,
it's
that's
usually
good.
you try to respect the time split, because one of the typical mistake that suddenly we use all the time with the first one, and then the 3 others have set and then they left without any help on their texts.
Yeah.
So we try to be like, okay, let's have like half an hour per person or 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's enough.
Yeah, I think so. It is good. I think like, we've done it before as well with some friends. We'll be like, okay, 15.
Cool.
We got an hour and 20. We'll talk bullshit for a while, and then afterwards. But in the middle, it's like, okay, you got 15. We're all focusing on you.
Yeah.
3-4 people. What do you need help with?
Yeah.
But it is true how many different angles you can see something from when you're sitting around with other people just trying to help what you're working on get better.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. And somebody will say something like, I never would have thought of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or somebody would say, oh, when you say that, it reminds me of this and that. And then you have to filter also. At the beginning, when I was a new beginner, I was taking all the ideas, and suddenly I was having texts that are not fully me. Now I'm like, okay, yeah, I see. But I will have to put it on my universe so that it gets somehow consistent with the type of humor I usually have.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to do that. I get a lot of suggestions from people, and sometimes I'll be like, yep, I can take that.
And then you have to just
No,
digest and think, no, that's
I don't
not me.
think I'm going to...
But last time I saw you, you were on fire. I laughed so much.
Thank you.
This kind of, because I think it's so relatable, these kind of contrasts of the person you are in your mother tongue, and the one you sometimes happen to be in a foreign language. It's hilarious.
Yeah, it's
hilarious, especially the way you do the Norwegian, very like cute and simple. Like
Yeah.
people were. It was very, very funny.
Yeah, it was a good night. It was a good night. And I think I've kind of cracked the code for my style.
Yeah.
You know, I'll do Norwegian, English, Norwegian, and go
great.
backwards and forwards. And
do it.
I love it. I love doing it like that. And I'll do the premise in English and then the punchline in Norwegian. And then sometimes I'll switch that up. Because, you know, when I was learning Norwegian, I was very self-conscious. And my friends were making fun of me all the time. You know, you sound like you're from Pakistan. You sound like... And I was like, oh my God, do I sound like I'm like do I sound terrible when I talk? And then I realized, I just talk in a funny way. And when you're doing comedy, it's like, I'm going to use that.
Of course.
I'm going to thank
It's
you.
perfect.
It's a tool. Yeah.
And I love your joke regarding the fact that you didn't get through your personality when you talk in another language.
Yeah.
And then you have this joke regarding that. In fact, you're an asshole.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I think it's very funny.
It's good. And there is an element of truth to it. You know, when you're learning another language, it's like you're kind of limited with how you can express your personality. And you can sound very cute and nice. And then when you're like fully you, okay, now we understand this guy's a fucking asshole. So yeah, it's a good concept. But you know, one of the things that you inspired me to do, actually, I saw your set at Josefina's, and you're a foreigner, I'm a foreigner, and you did your entire set in Norwegian. And I was like, I gotta start doing more and more comedy in Norwegian, because you killed it in Norwegian, and it's your, I don't know, second or third language. And I was like, okay, and then after I watched you, I was like, I'm gonna do all Norwegian sets, and I did a few all Norwegian sets, and
How did it go?
it went great. Yeah, it went really good. The first time I just did 5 minutes. I was like, okay, this is just from beginning to the end, all text memorized in Norwegian, and it went really well. And then I did that a bunch, and then I mixed in the English for like longer sets. But one of the things that I thought about you was when you were doing everything in Norwegian, it made me think like, if I wanted to level up and perform, say, for example, at Latter, maybe I need to be able to do an entire set in Norwegian.
Yes, the thing is, and you know that Norwegians are super good at English, and your English is very easy to understand, so you are fully safe regarding the fact that people would get what you say anyway. So it's a bit up to you. I don't know, but it's a bit up to you to choose. Well, the thing is, no one speaks French. I cannot do comedy in French.
No.
I would be very alone.
Yeah.
But what I've learned with the time is that I felt at the beginning when I started comedy very stuck in this little base of things that I could actually say, and all the rest of the colors that I wanted to do, what I would have said in French, I couldn't because I was not comfortable enough with the type of humor, the timing of a joke in Norwegian, and the words and the vocabulary. What I now do is that I of course I got better, but I also got better at owning the fact that you're a bit weird, and that you say words in a very weird way sometimes. Sometimes when I started, I was terrified when the audience laughed and I didn't get what I was saying. And then now I'm owning it and say, okay, what did I say now? Just tell me, please. Don't make fun of me now. It makes me more comfortable, and it makes the audience more comfortable to laugh at me too.
Yeah.
With me.
Yeah.
Whereas at the beginning it was a bit like, well, that's a bit embarrassing.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, okay, well, all in. Yes. You don't understand what I'm saying? I don't either. Let's get friends.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because what you do a lot, from what I've seen, is you're doing a lot of like text, a lot of jokes, but you're also talking to the crowd a lot.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah.
A lot.
Because I have this improv background. I did improv for many years, improvisation theater, which I loved. And when I came to Norway, I thought I should do improv. But well, when you don't speak well a language, good luck on this one.
Yeah.
When it's all about like building stories together, like sometimes building stories and even watching each other and just thinking, or playing on accents or voices or a type of words, it's super hard in a language you don't behave well.
Yeah.
So that's why I switched into stand up, which I love too. But this improv background is still in my backpack when I'm on stage.
Yeah, okay. So the improv training and the improv experience comes alive.
Yes.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, that's good. I did improv as well.
You did?
Yeah, I love it. And I was in the same, when I came to Norway, I actually started doing improv, and I felt the same thing. I was like, I can't do this. But now they have improv in English.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. I went to Chateau Neuf.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, when I did it in Norwegian, which was, I was terrible. And then they opened up Neuf International or Improv International, and then it's just amazing. I was like, and it felt like, because I did it in Australia as well, and then when I could do it again in Norwegian, it was great. That's why I met Lieben, who does improv. Yeah, so yeah, we met there. But I love that style where you're just like, you know, sometimes like when you're just sticking to text, and the audience knows it's text, it's not as engaging.
No, it's true.
Yeah. And then when you're like talking to them and like you're referring to things that you said and, you know, pointing out something that you see, they go, oh, this is a living thing that's happening right now. This isn't just like some script that somebody's memorized.
I agree. Well, the thing is, the disadvantage of my style is that there's a lot of words that could be shortened to make the text sometimes a bit tighter.
Yeah.
I tend to, because of the fact that I improvise a bit, because of the fact that I never write on the paper the exact text I will say, but just like bullet points of jokes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it gets too chatty, and I should cut a bit to make it more clean.
Yeah.
but that's also who I am. That's also how I am. So I guess, well, that's and I also realized that a lot of French humorists have a lot of words before the first laugh.
Okay.
So I was like, that's perhaps because I'm French actually, that I have this very like chatty style.
Yeah. Do you have jokes per minute, or do you know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
let's say you're doing a 15-minute set. Do you have like a certain amount of laughs that you want to try to get out per minute or 2 minutes or something like that?
I never reflected on this, but I got once in two different situations very good Rico. The first one was at a clown school. I went to a clown school in France like years ago, and the clown teacher. It sounds strange, but it's actually a job to be a teacher for clowns.
Yeah.
It was very cool workshop. But he said you have 30 seconds to 1 minute max to get the audience confidence and trust.
Yeah.
So you have to be.
Oh no, sorry. Sorry. That was the alarm for 3:30.
Okay.
But I set it at 2:30.
Okay.
I'm so stupid. Sorry.
No, don't
Keep
worry.
going. Keep going.
You have like 30 minutes to get the audience to love you.
Yeah.
30 seconds, sorry. So one of the first reco I have is that try to have a good punchline quickly.
Yeah. So you want to start off strong off the bat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not wait before something gets funny. Or just being super friendly and confident.
Yeah, because then sometimes you've got to decide whether you want to talk to them or whether you want to start with a joke.
I agree.
Yeah.
If you emceeing, you have to be comfortable in the fact that you're not supposed to be the funniest this night.
Yeah.
You just have to be the friend of the audience.
Mm,
So be welcoming. Pernille is very good at this, for example. If you go to English Joke Factory,
very good.
she's the one like, are we ready for the weekend? Do we have a beer? There's nothing hilarious, but she's so friendly,
Mm.
and the audience is happy.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a very good way. I think she warms up, and then she can go into hard jokes.
Yeah.
But as an MC, you don't have to be like Jack. Whereas as a comedian, sometimes it's smart to have something to say right away, which is funny,
Mm.
to make the audience show, okay, I have this under control. You can relax.
Yeah.
And the second reco I have is that if you put your text in bullet points, you have to check somehow that there is not too many bullet points without any big reactions of the audience.
Mm.
Otherwise, perhaps you should remove things
Yeah.
to work with the tempo of your texts. I think
Yeah.
that's also to make it visual. Sometimes it helps to say, oh, I have this and this and this, and then there is a long story where nothing reacts. Well, perhaps I have to shorten it a bit.
Yeah. And if you're doing a long story with less reactions, do you plan then to make the reaction bigger so
yeah,
that
exactly.
it's an investment?
Or to pimp up the story with different punchline on the way, or to make the story shorter, depending on.
How do you come up with stories to tell and
But
make them funny?
I've always been like this since I'm a child. I could have like tell the story.
So it's
So
just a
I went
natural.
going home and say, oh, this has happened at the bakery. Oh, and then I was like doing characters and imitation, and it was on next. And that's my style.
Yeah.
So I sometimes it's very like stupid things I've said or done, and then I build it.
Mm.
I build it, and then I'm like, oh, that would be funnier to say this, and then I will. So I exaggerate a lot
Yes.
based on true stories.
Okay, so you can take something that happened to you
Yes.
and go, there's something here. Let
That
me
I
work
need to-
on it.
yes,
Let me enhance
yes,
it. Let me add
yes,
some more
yes.
humor. I'm going to try it out
And
tonight.
usually I try to make fun of myself,
Yeah.
even though I exaggerate all the characters and
Yeah.
yes.
How much fun do you make of yourself? Like,
It's a hard question.
yeah, and let me put it in another way as well. Do you think that like you make fun of yourself at the beginning of a set, and then it's a technique for the audience to, I don't know, like see that you don't take yourself so seriously, and they open up to you and like you more? Say for example, if you're in the beginning, if you're making fun of yourself, maybe they might like you more.
Yeah.
Instead of in the
Exactly.
beginning, I'm gonna make fun of Kanye West or something. You know what I mean?
Exactly, I know. Well, I'd say what you just said. For me, it's key that the audience likes you.
Yes.
You laugh with someone that you think is sympathetic.
Mm.
There is a lot of there is not much counterexample of this, and after that, if they like you, you can certainly challenge a lot all the borders of what is okay to say or no, because you have them with you on your boat.
Yeah.
But they have to jump in your boat at the beginning.
Yeah.
And I've seen like very rude English comedians. They are hilarious. Like if you take Jimmy Carr, he says a lot of super impolite things.
Yeah.
But you still love him, though. You
Yeah.
sometimes as a woman you're like, I hate that guy. No, I love him.
Yeah.
And it's very cool because he managed to put everyone in his boat, and then he says a lot of things that are perhaps not okay to start with.
Yeah.
But suddenly they are hilarious in the middle of the show because
Yeah.
we are with him from day one.
Yeah, you've got that connection with him.
Exactly.
You trust him and you
So
like
I'd
him.
say that I will always. It's hard to start on a cold set with something which is very provocative or can create like certain reactions of
Yeah.
negative reactions, because otherwise after that it's very hard to gain back the audience.
Yeah,
very hard.
you gotta get them wet before you stick it in.
Yes.
Yeah. Bit of foreplay.
Sometimes I just say to the audience, "You look good. What
Yeah.
about you? Oh my God, how many hot people are there in this room?" Or
Yeah.
I try to never be like, or there's a date. I ask the lady, so on a scale from 1 to 6, the Norwegian turning costs.
Yeah.
And then usually they would look at each other, fem eller sex, with applause. That's a good start. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Try to be very friendly, so that the audience likes me, and then I like them, and then I'm not trying to make them uncomfortable.
No. And I noticed that when you were doing the Josefina set, because it kind of got a little bit late into the night as well. We had like that was that was the night where Bjorn Daniel went up on stage, and everything started a little bit later, and things dragged on a little bit. And I think it must have been like, if the show starts at 8, I think you maybe went on stage at like 10:15 or something.
Yes.
And like the crowd had been sitting there for a couple of hours, and
They're tired.
Yeah, and then you came on. And like it was just like you pushed the refresh button. Do you know what I mean? Like giving everybody a ginger shot kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, woo, waking up, let's
nice.
go. Yeah. But I saw you working it, and you like, you like, hey, how we doing, everybody? This, hello, what's your name? And you talked to them for a while, and I was like, yeah, okay, I feel good.
Yeah.
Let's go. And like with me, I was like, okay, now I'm on your boat. Where are we going?
Yeah, exactly.
Where are you taking this boat?
You can take the audience where you want.
Yeah. Dude, it's an amazing art form.
Yeah, it's cool. How long have you doing stand-up?
4 years.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. It's been 4 years with 2 pandemic years. So I don't know how you want to count that. Yeah, fucking. But I was lucky during the pandemic because we had a summer tournée.
Yeah.
We had like this. We did a trip around Norway, and we did that
so
twice.
Cool.
Yeah.
With whom?
Dude, I did it with Espen, Ola Henrik, Felix, Talak.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so we were a gang of guys. And it was cool. It was really cool. So we did that in 2020. And there was, you remember 2020, there was fucking nothing happening.
Exactly.
Like everything shut down in March, and then...
And if they happened to open, it was like 15 spots in the room where it used to be 50.
Do you remember that? Yeah. And everybody was wearing masks, and you couldn't...
Sit from each other away.
You had to sit at a table, and the drinks got all... Like, they had to come up to you. It was not great for stand-up. So then I got through the pandemic mostly by doing I did every spot that I could get, and there wasn't many. And then we organized, we just have to create our own spots. And then we did this summer tour in 2020, and then we did it again last year.
Yeah.
And it was awesome. So,
cool.
Yeah. And then when everything opened up again, I've been, hitting it pretty hard to, I try to do 2-3 spots every week.
That's very cool. That's a lot.
I think it's the minimum that you need to do.
Yeah,
at least
better,
from my position.
So you do jiu-jitsu and stand-up?
Yeah, and podcasting. Yeah, and I make videos and do photos.
Yeah, well, that's very cool.
It's all the shit that I like.
And that's what you studied?
No, I studied philosophy and literature.
You did?
Yeah.
And you say that now?
Yeah.
It's amazing. I didn't, but I love literature and philosophy. That's so cool.
Me too. It's what I'm good at.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. Well, what, you didn't want to be a teacher, or you didn't want to...
No, my mum was a teacher.
She was? Okay.
Yeah, so she taught high school students at a Catholic boys' school, and she had a very hard life.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like always having to do homework late at night and didn't get much money, and always struggling, and I was like, fuck that. Yeah. And I had a lot of bad teachers when I was in school too. Okay. So I was like, I don't never want to be a teacher. No. But I just gravitated towards literature and philosophy because I was fascinated by them. Yeah. And, this was fucking 20-something years ago or whatever. So I was, there was no phones or no YouTube.
I remember that time too.
Right. So what did you have? You were renting a DVD or you were reading books. Yeah. And I was just like fascinated by the way that you could tell a story on paper, and it would be so strong in your mind. Yeah. You know what I mean? I could enjoy movies, but it was nothing like reading a book.
No, exactly.
And then I actually wanted to be a diplomat. So I studied international relations. At the same time, I was studying literature in my bachelor degree, and I got like 55% in international relations, and I got like 98% in literature.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and I was like, all right, just go where you're good.
Exactly.
So I always, and then I discovered philosophy in my second year, and I just fell in love with it, and I studied the philosophy of aesthetics as well, like the philosophy of art, what makes art good, what is art with a negative moral message,
Okay.
still good art, even though the message is bad.
Yes.
So, like Nazi architecture or films by, like Nazi propaganda, like Leni Riefenstahl or whatever she's called. She made like great films, but they're considered bad by some people because of the messaging, even though the cinematography and everything was beautiful. So I was always kind of like fascinated by the different approaches that philosophical perspectives could create on how you see the world.
Yes.
Yeah. And obviously, like, sorry to go on about this.
No, it's super interesting.
I think so. Like, philosophy shapes a lot of morals and what we consider right and wrong. And as you can see now in like the current political climate, that definition of what is right and what is wrong is constantly changing. You know what I mean? Like, you can have a look at, say, like what's happening in America with abortions. You know what I mean? Like, the Supreme Court or somebody have decided that it's wrong to get an abortion. You know what I mean? And that's a philosophical perspective. And a lot of people disagree with it.
And religious.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And religion is basically philosophy.
No, it is, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I'm reading now? I'm reading the book of Jostein Gaarde,
Okay.
The World of Sophie, or Sophie's World. I don't know how...
Yeah, it's a great book.
Yeah, I don't know how much times I thought I need to read this book now that I plus became a Norwegian citizen. I would like to have read the biggest authors, Norwegian authors. I read it in French though, because I read much quicker in my mother tongue. But it's very interesting, and it reminds me of this because it's a bit of the first step into philosophy for teenagers.
Yes.
But it's a very good book, and actually this mix between religion and philosophy is very well explained by.
So you're reading that now?
Yeah.
Ah,
I have it in my bag just outside the door.
Wow.
True.
Yeah, I read that 20 years ago.
Yeah, I know. I'm not too early with this one.
No, but I remember, I don't remember too much of the actual book, but I remember that what it did is it gave you a very good insight into a lot of philosophers.
Exactly. Well, that's the history of big thinking currents and big, yeah.
And I think
From
that,
antiquity to, I guess.
and I think that's really important to
contemporary thinking.
understand because that's what shaped society
Exactly.
today. You know what I mean? Like, if you have a look at
exactly.
Western values are based on Greek philosophers that lived 2,000 years ago.
Yes.
Like, how crazy is that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's obviously like it shapes the political landscape because, we've gone from, say, for example, kingdoms across Europe where kings were considered to be the sons of God and all that sort of shit to now, you know what? You had the French Revolution. Fuck that. We're going to vote now or whatever, you know? So it is interesting that the ideas that people make popular end up having a huge impact on everybody's
Yes.
life. Fucking crazy.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's all philosophy.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool
Yeah.
that you studied philosophy.
Yeah.
Do you use philosophy in stand-up? You should write stand-up on philosophy.
Yeah,
It's not an easy task.
No, it's pretty challenging, but I don't really do that much philosophy-based comedy. Maybe I should though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be very cool.
I did have one joke where I was like, I studied philosophy, which prepared me to answer all of the questions in the world except this one: how do I get a job? You know what I mean? And then like I had a few other jokes about
That's
some
very
shit like that.
cute.
Yeah, and it spun off from there and all that kind of shit. But yeah,
Because I guess the audience likes to feel clever.
Yeah.
So if you manage to make them laugh and feel clever, then
Yeah, I've fallen into the trap where I've tried to make a joke that was too clever, and it was actually like it's so clever that nobody got it.
what was that?
The joke was it was something about I have adopted the environment is very important to me, so I've adopted a lifestyle that eliminates all consumerism. It's called poverty. I also like to recycle, especially at work, so I've adopted a lifestyle that eliminates all consumerism. It's called poverty, right? So the stupid / part of the joke that I thought was fucking brilliant was that I recycled the joke. So
Okay,
exactly.
sorry.
Hey, yeah, no, don't worry.
I didn't get it.
Nobody else got it either. Nobody else got it. And I remember writing I've written the best joke in the world.
You should say it. You should say it. And I'm so good at recycling that I will repeat the same joke all the time.
I probably had to.
You have to spoon feed the audience sometimes.
I actually tried it at Joke Factory in front of like an all English audience. I was like, yeah, maybe they'll get it because it's English and a lot of
international
American.
expats.
Nothing. Not a single. I think one guy got it. One guy. He started laughing. I go, yeah, you're my guy. But then I realized like I can't. The joke.
But it's an excellent idea, actually. It's a very excellent idea. Or you can just reuse the set of another comedians that have been on stage before you and say,
yeah.
Well, I'm super into recycling, so my name is blah blah blah, and then you can joke on
Yeah.
reusing the one that just being on stage before you. Or
Yeah. There's something
there's
there.
a lot of good jokes to do with recycling on stand-up. That's a good one.
It was a good one. It was
I
a good
loved
one. But it was one of those ones that I was like, oh, do I want to dedicate like 4 hours to try to figure it out?
Yes.
Or should I just abandon it? Like, abandon it. Jump ship. You abandon, you got to, I mean, you must have gone through
the
so many
waste.
fucking jokes.
Yeah, the waste ratio is enormous.
Yeah, of course.
Sometimes I'm like, oh, it would have been a good story. And then, or sometimes it's like, yeah, does that work? And then the audience loves it. But I guess sometimes you just have to test it several times before throwing it away.
Yeah.
But
How many times do you think you need to test it?
Or at least several times. And I use a lot prøver at
Yeah.
dette.
Yeah.
But sometimes the crowd is hard.
That's hard there.
And then it's not because you don't get the response you were hoping for that the joke is a bad idea. It's just sometimes you have to work with it. And also I became better at taking also on the dictaphone. And sometimes when I hear it, I'm like, no wonder no one laughed. I don't even understand myself what I was saying.
Yeah.
Or no wonder the tempo was wrong or the joke was unclear.
Yeah.
So sometimes you have to give it another try just before concluding this is not working on a stand-up stage.
Yeah, because sometimes it doesn't work because of a technical error.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Or
Yeah.
tempo or timing or just what we said before. Or
Yeah, but you've probably experienced this as well, right?
Yeah,
Where you've
exactly.
done a joke and it has absolutely killed, maybe killed several times,
Yes.
and then you've done the exact same joke the exact same way, and it just didn't kill.
exactly.
Isn't that weird?
It's super painful.
And you're like, why didn't that one kill? What happened there? Is it
Yes.
me? Is it them?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was in a show in Sandnes 2 weeks ago on the West Coast, and all comedians struggled a lot.
Yeah.
Well, very well established comedians that have very good texts,
Yeah.
and we were all like thinking, "Oh, Jesus, that's a heavy audience." But then the day after at Stavanger, applause and crowd cheering, and it's very strange. Yeah. And also that's what makes stand-up exciting.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. So no, it's not only you.
No, it's not.
I can confirm.
Yeah, I did a show last week where we went to Yesheim.
Okay.
And I killed for like, I think I did 15, 16 minutes. Absolutely murdered, right? Everybody had a great night. It was really good. Oh, shit. So, and then I was on my way back home and I was like, oh, I'm going to drop by Lincoln to see what's going on. And they're like, do you want to do like a small little spot? I go, yeah, I'll do a few minutes. Nothing landed. Nothing. But then like, I go, shit, is it me? And it's like, nah, dude, these guys have been here for like 2.5 hours. They gotta, you know what I mean? The show's been dragging on and on and on. I was like, yeah, okay, I get it. Yeah. But do you fail? Like, how do you deal with failure?
Well, it's a good question. So I always try to think, okay, well, that's part of the stand-up bubble, right? To accept the fact that sometimes it's hard and also what I realized that even though you don't get this like very warm response from the audience, sometimes the audience is having a good time, but just is not as noisy or as expressive as you would have expected.
Yeah.
But it's not the reason why they don't think you're funny.
No.
You have to sometimes also filter a bit that your experience on stage is not exactly a mirror of how good your performance was. And it goes both ways. Sometimes you get like an audience which is like, you are hilarious. And then, it's perhaps not the best show you've had.
Yeah. Are you chasing like dragons sometimes? Like, you know, I mean, like, are you like, oh, I remember what it was like at Folketeatret. 1,000 people clapping and laughing. That's what I want to try to get back to. I want to get that. That's the feeling. I remember that. Wow, that experience that night. That's my level. I want to chase that. Are you always trying to like, you know?
I guess I'm ambitious. So I'm trying always to think, how can I do it funnier, better? That's true. But it's more regarding the texts and the performance and the level of energy and the way I manage to read the audience, reading what has been happened on stage before me. I try always to get better at all these elements. It's not necessarily the biggest venue. It's more, how can I get a comedian which is as a professional and as a funny version of herself as possible.
Yeah.
What do you do? You chase like these
Nah, I don't.
one-of-a-kind experiences?
I don't do it, but sometimes I catch myself comparing.
Oh, we all do.
You know what I mean?
But of course.
I'm like, oh, why that? Let's say, for example, the last time we performed together, like, oh, great response, fantastic. I was like, okay, now I just want to get that all the time.
Yes.
Now I just always want it to be that. How can I always make it like that?
Yeah.
And if it's not like that, if it's lower than that, I go, that wasn't as good. Why wasn't it as good? Is it me? Is it, you know what I mean? Then I start kind of, but I'm always definitely looking to, I'm always trying to make every show my best performance.
That's very good attitude.
Yeah.
And I guess also to try to be better at all aspects, because sometimes your text is not what needs to be worked with. Sometimes it's the body language, the attitude, the energy, the timing. It can be a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of elements that go into whether something is like really good or not.
So, but it's good that you do so. I guess that only makes you a better version of yourself. But I've seen the journey you've been on. It's very cool. I remember the first times we had a show together at Brø and Circus. That might have been 2 years or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And what I saw the last time was very funny. It was very, very funny.
Yeah, I remember that show. That wasn't a great performance by me. That was like, okay, I'm figuring some stuff out. And it was like, you know what I mean? So I've definitely gotten a lot better since then. But I guess everybody has in 2 years.
Yes. Yeah, obviously.
Yeah. Shit.
Hopefully, let's say.
Yeah. God, man, we do some crazy shows, right? Like isn't it insane, some of the places you turn up to? You're like, okay, this is comic. We're going for it.
Oh, yeah. Yes, it's very strange. We have so many stories all together, like very strange stuff.
Yeah. What do you think the differences are doing comedy as a woman? Are there any? Do you feel like there's different challenges?
Well, it's hard because I've not been a male comedian, so it's hard to compare like perfectly objectively. But I think the audience is responsive to you, whoever you are. If you're good and you're funny, and I experienced that if you are funny on stage, you will be booked anyway in the right places at the right time. Yeah, I don't think that you have to. I don't worry too much about the fact that I'm a woman. No, I don't comment it too much. I don't think about it too much. What I observe is that there is a very good solidarity between women comedians. And that I like. I like very much that we very much cheer up each other and help each other. Yeah. There is the private group on Facebook. There is a lot of solidarity in the. I don't know. I think that's very positive dynamic. Yeah. But else, no. I think at some points, most of the audience in the stand-up clubs are women. Have you noticed this? Yes. And so I guess that they usually respond well to my kind of jokes. So I guess that helps perhaps a bit. Yeah. The reason I ask is because I did a show once with a female comedian. Yes. And she said, I feel like I have to do well as a woman because if I don't do well, the audience thinks that all women are bad at comedy. Oh. And I was like, oh, is that what you think? Is that how it is? And she goes, yeah, that was her experience, because she said that sometimes she experiences or feels like there's a stigma that women aren't as funny as men. That's true. Yeah. That's the ugly truth, and she's right on this one, because I've heard several times, you were funny for being a girl. Yeah. And you're like, oh, okay, what was that? That's very judgmental. Yeah, it's very judgmental. So I agree. I guess she's right. But I wouldn't worry too much that she's representing suddenly all women comedians when she's on stage. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I don't think you do, right? You are not representing all stand-up comedians when you're on stage. Definitely not. Yeah. Definitely not. But I think she thought that there were so few women that did it compared to the amount of men. And did stand-up comedy? Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And what pisses me off is that, for example, we still have ladies' night. Yeah. Like if there's only guy on stage, you would never call it a guys' night. That's so unnecessary to call it a ladies' night. Yeah. Plus, I guess if you do so, the audience will only be ladies. Yeah. So we have to move on to something. That's a good point. If you're doing a ladies' night, you're mostly just attracting women. There was not a single gang of boys. Not a single Y chromosome in the audience. Well, there was like guys that had been drawn by their girlfriend, but there was not like a gang of boys thinking, "What's happening tonight in Oslo?" You wouldn't book tickets for ladies' night if you're five male friends trying to see a show. So I guess that's something we have to not stopping commenting when it's women comedy. It's just comedy. Just accept it. It's just comedy. Yeah. That's I guess it's a bit annoying. It is kind of weird, like, I mean, how men and women get categorized into different things. Do you know what I mean? Plus, we have so many different humors. I mean, most of my female colleagues and friends in stand-up have very, very different universe than mine. Yeah. I love them, all of them, but it's very different. So it's like, it's not just because we're women that we have the same style of humor. No. Luckily, no. But yeah. It's like comparing apples and pears.
Yeah, I think there's as many styles of comedy as there are comedians.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because even though I can't think of like any comedians that are like exactly like each other.
No.
Do you know what I mean? And
No,
like
no.
you do a lineup. Let's say the last lineup we did together, it was very diverse.
Yes.
You know, it was a very diverse lineup. Yeah. Shit, I can't remember. I can't believe at that show some dude pulled out a bag of weed. I made one weed joke and he pulled out a big bag of weed and goes,
remember that.
"Let's smoke later." I was like, "Oh shit, you should put that away, bro. Let's smoke later, but put it away." Oh my god.
You were on fire. They loved you.
Yeah, it was. You know, sometimes I just plug into. Sometimes I'm the right guy for the right audience. You know what I mean? Like,
it was one of these moments.
yeah.
And I stand with Daniel Rouve, and he was like also like he was laughing out loud. What is going on? It was so funny. And the funny part is that I don't know if you noticed, but I came a bit after the show start, and they had this sound
Of the
equipment
speakers.
towards the street.
Yeah.
So you could hear it stand up from around the corner. And I was like, is it the voice of Christian?
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, yeah, that's his voice. Because on Saturday nights or Friday night, they probably have music towards the pavement to make people want it to go in. But it was very strange to have stand up in the streets.
Yeah.
Just the sound.
Yeah, that's cool. You're walking past. That was a funny joke. Shit.
So yeah, I was good advertising.
Yeah. Are you doing a lot of? You got some cool gigs lined up?
Yeah, coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a lot in my plate now. I have some Christmas private stuff.
Oh, for like a corporation,
exactly.
corporate gigs.
Yes.
Nice. That's good.
Yeah, it's cool. And also I have a week in Latter in November and some other gigs like in the classical places, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a lot of things coming now.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's really good. And are you making a living doing comedy?
No.
No.
I have, but it's a choice. Huh? I think I could do if I were stopping my work.
Yeah.
Probably when I'm 38, I think that probably before I turn 40, I will say, okay,
Yeah. Okay.
I want to try. But I'm a bit anxious as a person, so I'm not sure if I think it's a jump to quit your old, safe, comfortable work life
Yeah.
to jump into something a bit unknown.
Yeah.
But it sounds very refreshing too. How do you experience this life?
There's two ways that I look at it. There's one way, like like the monkey swinging from the branch.
Yeah.
Like the monkey shouldn't let go of the first branch until the second branch is right there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like it's probably an economic disaster if you like go, okay, I'm gonna just quit my job and just focus 100% on comedy.
Yes.
Especially if you're like, I don't know, I gotta pay all my mortgage and
Exactly.
that's tough. But on the other side, I've seen comedians like Marius is a good example of this. He said, okay, I'm gonna quit my job. I'm gonna focus on comedy, and I think he's doing well.
Yeah, that's amazing because it's a short time
Yes.
in between the fact that he said I'm trying to launch my
Less than a year.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I had a gig with him last week in She, and that's the first things I told him. I was like, wow, what a pace, what a speed. That's amazing. But that's very cool.
Yeah.
Because that's well deserved.
Yeah.
But still, I agree. He's a very inspiring example for us.
I think so too. I think it's very inspiring. So that's why I'm like, I don't know what strategy is best. Like, should you try to make sure that branch is there, or should you just be like, that's the only branch.
Yeah.
I have to make this work.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, you talk to like some artists or athletes, and they're like, there's no plan B. Like, this works, or I'm homeless. And I'm going to do everything I can to make it work. So, do you know what I mean? Like, there's different
exactly. But I guess
strategies.
that's also a difference of personalities, don't you think? I mean, there
I
are
think
some
so.
people that are, and I very much admire the courage of thinking, okay, let's go
Yeah.
100% in one plan.
And it's also different positions in life. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how old Marius is, but I don't think he's got like kids or responsibilities like that, or like a big mortgage to pay off a fucking who's somewhere.
Yeah.
So like at a certain point in your life, you can be more, you can take more risks.
No, of course.
Yeah. So, but I make like an okay. My goal for 2022 was to make 100,000 kroner in comedy.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
yeah.
did you manage?
No, but we're not through the year yet. I don't know what I'm up to. Probably like 30 something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm getting there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, one step at a time. But I've done a few like private, like corporate gigs
That
as
helps
well.
a lot.
So much. Yeah. So I mean, you can just pick up like a nice paycheck by getting those gigs, and I feel like, I don't know. I feel like maybe the only place where you can really make good money from doing clubs is Latter.
For club, yes.
Yeah. Right.
Well, there is all the places where you get very well paid for one evening, one show,
Yeah.
but not many.
No.
And I guess you cannot be like every day at Later. You can get a full week there.
Yeah.
And sometimes, for example, in summer, I had double shows the whole week, or triple show on the Saturday and the Friday.
Oh, wow.
Like at 6, 8, and 10 p.m.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise, you're right. I guess what you get money from is other things, or radio, or TV, or comedy writing. Or one of my friends, she's writing for Netflix now, or different TV program. She's writing dialogues.
Oh, cool.
I guess, she's also the one that actually, exactly what you said, there's no plan B. I want to make that happen, that she made it. So she had to go through these kind of years where you have bad revenues and a lot of stress regarding the financial aspects.
Yeah.
But she made it. The thing is, either she has a lot of work because there is a project with tight deadlines, or she needs to be on the prospect side.
Yeah.
So
And
it's either or, and that's also a bit can be also tiring at the end.
Yeah, and that's also like how you define making money through comedy. Because if she's writing for a Netflix
Which she
show,
loves.
which she loves, that's comedy, but it's not stand up.
No, exactly.
So it's a different thing.
And actually I had this discussion with another colleague that said that the thing is, sometimes you see stand-up comedians that want to leave from stand-up but end up quitting their job to do other comedians related activities that are well or better paid than pure stand-up. And then they don't have time for stand-up anyway. Whereas the first trigger to leave their old job was to do stand-up. But then they start to do radio, TV, writings and so on. And then suddenly they don't have much time for stand-up writing anymore.
Yeah.
So that's a risk.
How do you make money just doing stand-up?
Pure stand-up, I don't know.
I think that's tough.
Well, you have to be Jonas Bergland or...
Yeah, you got to do solo shows.
Kevin Vågenes.
But he's not making money just doing stand-up either.
No,
He's got a bunch of shows.
TV,
He's killing it with the comedy shows.
He's very, very, very talented. But
Yeah, he's off the hook. That guy's hilarious.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I feel like it's tough. Like I mean, even like comedians in America, you know what I mean? They're doing other shit. You know.
Yes. Well,
so much stuff.
I had a gig at Joke Factory with an American guy from LA. He said that you could be booked for a gig in a very famous club in LA with a lot of very big names and get $17 at the end of the night.
Yeah, right.
And it's like, well, in the US, it's like, I mean, you don't get money for that.
Yeah.
It's just you get the privilege to be on stage in a cozy club, which is super reputed.
Yeah.
You don't get money out of it. You have to earn the money elsewhere.
Yeah. I feel like if you wanted to make a lot of money doing stand-up, you have to build up your audience.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Then
like Doug Sodos is a good example.
Perfect example. And he can travel around the entire country and people are going to turn up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, I've warmed up. Not warmed up, but I was emceeing in an evening at Salt where he was the headliner, and it was a hard crowd for me.
Yeah.
Since our styles are so different, people who bought tickets to see Doug.
Yeah.
And suddenly I am on stage and they're like, ugh.
Where's Doug? You're not Doug.
Yes.
Who's this chick?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, whatever you say. Next.
Yeah.
So but that's cool because it also proved that he has managed to build his audience, as you say.
Yeah.
Through a podcast, through a very definite style.
Yeah.
It's great. Cool.
What are you doing to build your audience?
Well, not much. I'm not good at it.
No.
Well, I could be better in using social medias, or I guess that's one of the clue also, is to be visible and very distinctive on SoMe, to be seen.
Yeah.
And then you can have people like coming to the show because they've heard about you through TikTok or Instagram or you name it.
Yeah.
The thing is, I'm not very good at this because what I love is being on stage.
Yes.
And I don't have time for social media. I don't. But I think it's a wrong choice I've done.
Yeah.
I should invest more.
I think so. I feel like it. And I see like comedians that have a audience of yesterday I did a podcast with Gauta, Gucci Gauta.
Yeah.
He has like 11,000 followers on Instagram and then, a whole bunch on TikTok. And people go to his shows to see him.
Yeah.
So he's selling tickets.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I just feel like you have to be good at stand-up. You have to do that. But you also need to have some kind of marketing
Exactly. You
strategy.
have to be your own brand. Yes.
Yeah.
The irony is that I've had a whole career in marketing behind me. So
really? So you know what to do.
Exactly. But I never fell in both. I'm not super comfortable in building my own brand and promoting myself. And second of all, what I do love is being on stage, and the rest of my life is packed with family and my work. So I don't have many hours left. And it takes time. If you want to do good content on social media and have plenty of ideas, I just don't take the time. I just don't. Yeah.
No.
Want to realize
Are you
that.
filming your sets and posting clips?
No, I do very little of, which is also a shame because that's a low hanging fruit.
It's right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't you do that?
Yeah, I know. I should be better at that.
Yeah, listen, everybody should be better at that.
Yes.
There's a lot of comedians that are fantastic comedians, and they're not doing it. No, I'm not even doing it.
Yes.
The thing that I'm mostly publishing on my social media is like
The podcast.
exactly.
Yes.
That's it. So, but I definitely think that like if you want to grow and make more money doing comedy, you have to get known.
And to have a name, you have to be seen on social media.
Yeah.
That's period.
Or you have to have like a radio show or be on TV or
That's true.
get some kind of, media coverage. Because, I mean, like if you're going on stage and you're doing a show for 30, 40, 50 people twice a week, it's nowhere near as many people as can see you online.
No, exactly. Well,
Right?
No,
Isn't that
not at all.
crazy?
Yeah.
You know, when I post these like clips, they get thousands and thousands and thousands of views. And it's like, there's no way I could reach that many people.
No.
Like on stage
No,
in a
I
month.
agree. Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, I think like I have the same kind of conversation with a lot of comedians about what needs to get done when it comes to marketing and promoting themselves. And it just seems like it's a lot of work.
It is.
Yeah. It's another part of the job.
Yes.
But I think it's an essential part.
But for example, look at Nora Engeltvedt.
Yes.
She has such a good content. For me, that's a good, very good example.
Yeah.
I love which time I see in my Insta feed that Nora has done something new. I'm like, I need to watch. She's done a lot of, but I'm sure each video has a lot of hours of work behind.
Yeah.
But it's very good.
Yeah.
That I would love to be like her, like having kind of a redaction plan, perhaps, and thinking that week I will talk about this and that.
Yeah.
But you have to have time for it.
Could you use your marketing experience
sure.
to treat yourself as a client and then make a plan
Oh
for
yeah,
what
I would be fucking schizophrenic, but I would be. My marketing part would say yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I know exactly where to go.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science. Huh?
No.
It's just like it's a work, it's a job,
Yeah. Yeah, you got to
and you have to be comfortable in promoting yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the two, I guess, barriers in my head: time and plus the fact that you have to be pushy on pushing your own content.
Why don't you feel comfortable pushing your own
I
content?
don't know.
Oh, really?
Because I should perhaps I'm I don't know. It sounds so I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I'm gonna have a plan for myself. I'm gonna try to release one video every. I might start small. I think what you should try to do is do one video a week. And when I do the podcast, I try to do at least one video every week. But now I got to try to do one stand-up clip every week.
That's cool.
I think so. And I think like if too many people just go, oh, they just see me from the podcast. I'm talking about comedy all the time. But where's your comedy clips, bro? Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, so if they see both of them, they go, oh yeah, here's the podcast. And then here's him doing comedy.
Yes.
I spoke to Espen Abrahamsen about this as well, and he's filming all of his sets. And
That's good.
yeah, and he's making clips, and he's got like 10 clips that are made, and he's just gonna build them up, and then go, okay, this is my plan for the next
2 months.
exactly, bang,
That's
bang,
smart.
bang. I think it is. So I think if you're gonna like do something like that, you could just start by making them, and then just decide when you want to release them. You know what I mean? Am I happy with this? Yeah, I'm happy with it. You don't need to like, I got to make it, post it the next day. Just like kind of have it sitting there, and then when it feels right, drop it.
That's true.
Yeah. I did one comedy clip when it was like in May, and it got so many views. And so many people loved it. People I don't even fucking know were coming up to me and going, dude, I saw that clip.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
So that's the power of social media.
It's insane if
It
you
is.
harness it and
It
you
is.
use it the right way.
Yes.
And the person who I think is the master at this is, what's his name? Halvard Dunes.
Yeah, he's amazing. But he's
Exactly.
amazing on stage, and he's very clever at. He was one of the first to be very clever with TikTok.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I remember he had jokes about TikTok being like, "Oh yeah, I have so many followers, but they're 13 years old,
Yes.
so they cannot see me on stage because they cannot drink alcohol." But he had a lot of good jokes regarding this. But I remember that I was like TikTok, but then he was super smart.
Yeah.
He was early adopter on this one.
It's-
among the stand-up comedians.
Do you have TikTok?
No.
No, me either. Should we get it?
But of course we should.
Yeah.
Well, of course we should.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
the ugly truth.
Well-
I follow a lot of trends with my work. I follow a lot of trends regarding social media usage, and
Yeah.
Norwegians, Scandinavians are early adopters for
Yes.
everything.
Yeah.
So TikTok is already a bit. It's like it was 3 years ago. Inia, where were we?
Yeah, exactly.
Halvor was there.
Yeah, he was
He
there.
was a clever guy.
Yeah, I'm so sketched out with TikTok.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? I feel like, man, am I too old for TikTok?
Yeah, me too.
Like, I got Instagram, isn't that enough? But I don't think it
But
is.
Instagram is 10 years old.
Yeah, it's old as
if
shit.
not more.
Yeah.
Mm.
Holy fuck.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's the ugly truth.
That's it. That is it.
So yeah. Mm.
Huh. And what else do you like? What kind of like marketing? Are you a social media marketing?
I worked, I have a career regarding different commercial jobs in sales and marketing.
Yeah.
I worked for the beer industry
Yeah.
in Norway, a company called Ringnes, which is the part of Carlsberg,
Yeah.
with different brands.
Is that just up here in
Solo and stuff.
Grünerløkka?
Yeah,
Yeah. So you were working there.
for 8 years.
Shit.
It was very nice.
Yeah. And where do you work now?
And after that, I worked at Nespresso.
Oh yeah.
As a marketing director
Yeah.
For Norway, and then now I worked in a bit smaller Norwegian company.
Yep.
Doing beauty things. Beth's
okay.
Beauty, it's called.
Beth's Beauty.
Yes,
Okay. And you're in charge of all the marketing?
of
Oh.
all the company.
Oh really? You're in
Yes.
charge of the company?
Yes,
The marketing or the whole company?
the whole company.
Really?
Yeah,
So
so I left marketing, pure marketing too.
So you're the CEO or the daglig leder or holy shit. Damn. That sounds like a big title.
Yeah.
Is it time consuming?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
But I just started 2 months ago,
Yeah.
so yeah.
And you're passionate about it. And
I love it.
Yeah.
The people are amazing there.
yeah, that's good.
And it's a very nice. We have different afdeling,
Yeah.
and all around Oslo, and 2 clinics, and it's a very nice place to be.
Wow. And so what's your goal as the CEO? Is it to try to like make more money?
Overtake the world.
Overtake
That
the
sounds very
world.
like, what's
Online
your goal as a CEO?
selling.
Like, I don't know. Right now I'm just getting known to the company and to the people and to the culture and to
Yeah.
yeah. So it's very cool,
Wow.
and I'm learning a lot regarding skincare,
Yeah.
which I was very bad at. Well, not very bad at, but I never have been a heavy user of a lot of different products. So now I learn a lot from my colleagues explaining this cream is this one and that cream does this, and yeah. So I'm getting a bit more clever on
Yeah.
beauty stuff. Perhaps I will become a YouTuber. or
Yeah, you should. Do
Mixing
some-
stand-up and beauty tips.
Yeah. Men are notoriously bad with skincare.
Yeah, which is actually, well, in Scandinavia, compared to the rest of the world, men take care of their skin better than the average rest of the Western world. But yeah, there's a lot of things you can do as a man to take care of your skin.
Are men using more products or
In Scandinavia, yes,
Yeah,
than
okay.
the rest of the world, but you can still be better at taking care of especially with this tough climate.
yeah.
There's a lot of things you can do to help your skin tolerate the
Yeah.
cold, the
Yeah, because it
shift.
gets windy and your face
Yes.
dries out.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
Like, oh. So
But
you
you
gotta.
have a very nice skin, Inia.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I have, I think I have like a good. It's not dry and it's not too oily.
It's a good hydrating product you have.
Yeah.
Yes, but that's great.
Yeah, I have a natural hydrating
Oh,
product.
you do? It's just natural?
Yeah,
You don't put any cream on it?
No,
Oh, that's good.
no, I'm the worst at that shit.
But then you should come to Beth's Beauty one day, and
I
I'll
will.
have one of my colleagues helping
I'll
you.
have a consultation.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, shit. No, I mean, in Australia, like the climate is so harsh.
Yeah.
And like everybody's getting skin
Why
cancer.
is it so harsh?
Because the ozone layer
sun
isn't
and
there.
yeah, okay.
The ozone, there's a big hole in the ozone
Of
layer
course,
above
yeah, okay.
Australia.
Makes
So you
sense.
just get all the UV rays just fucking melting your face off. So
That's tough.
yeah, that's
So that's
fucked
why
up.
you left.
That's it. So I
to
could still have beautiful
Preserve
skin.
your beautiful skin.
Yeah.
Your family is still there?
Yeah.
And your brothers and sisters and everyone?
They're in Australia.
Okay, so you
Yeah.
have no family here in Norway? Apart
Just
from
the kids
children's
and the dog and the
and
girlfriends.
the
That's
kids,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, that's it. I'm just out here flying solo. I'm creating my own dynasty.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. But it's like
And what is your goal with the podcast?
Oh, my goal with the podcast is just to have as many cool conversations as possible.
With comedians?
Not just comedians. Actually, next week I have a blogger coming in who's a friend of mine, and an Australian woman who has a donut franchise.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I'm branching out and talking to other. I have a lot of interest in life.
Okay.
So I'm talking
Cool,
to a lot
cool.
of people that either accomplish something or that have a cool perspective on things.
That's very nice.
Yeah. So like my goal I just enjoy doing it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Like it's just a fun thing
But
to do.
it suits you very well, plus you're good at
Oh, thank you.
yeah, driving good conversations.
Yeah, I love it. And if I was talking to you and there were no microphones here and we were just hanging out for fucking 2 hours, we'd probably have the exact same conversation.
No, exactly. That's
Yeah.
I like.
Yeah.
Mm.
Do you ever want to do a podcast or?
I've tried with one of my another good example of a stand-up friend, which is a female comedian.
Yeah.
Florencia. She's not doing stand-up right now because she just had a baby, but She's very funny. She's originally from Argentina. She works in she lives in Stavanger.
Yeah.
And we had a show years ago called Utlendinger.
Yeah.
Because we had such parallel stories with moving to Norway for love and then discovering this strange culture from abroad.
Yeah.
And we did a podcast, like we did 3 episodes, but the fact that we didn't live in the same city was a big barrier.
Yeah.
But it was a shame because we had very good fun of doing the podcast and covering different
Did you have to do it online then?
Yes.
Yeah, it's not the same.
No.
No. I've had a few friends in other countries that said, can we do one online? I'm like, I don't want to do it online. No, I just want to fucking stare into your eyes.
Yeah,
and look
exactly.
at your soul, bro.
Especially with the drawing behind you, like, am I going hypnotized now?
Yeah, exactly.
And all these stones and stuff there is so much to watch.
Yeah, exactly. I got like some skulls and
Yeah, well,
lights,
that's scary.
and
It's Halloween.
I've got a bunch of more shit like at home. I'm gonna bring down.
to scare your guests.
Yeah, freak them out. Oh, man, Halloween is coming up on Sunday.
Yeah.
And I have this basement underneath my building where the kids line up outside, and then at the end of the corridor in the basement, there's a bucket with candy inside of it.
Okay.
And if they are brave enough to walk all the way to the end, they get some candy. And I do everything I can to scare the fuck out of them. Like, it's, oh my God, I have a big speaker playing scary music and another one playing dogs barking and wolves howling. And it's dark, and I have like these lights all red. And then there's a lot of doors on the side of the corridor, and then they walk past. We jump out and try to scare them. They're terrified. I love it. Yeah, it's so fun. And when they make it to
So how old are the children?
5.
That's super mean.
I know. Well, they're all my son's kindergarten. So it's all his class and, his classmates and stuff like that.
'Cause I have a daughter she's 5. She would be terrified.
Oh, yeah, they're terrified. They are terrified.
But she would like the candies.
Yeah, she would like the candies. and they don't walk by themselves. They walk with their parent.
Okay.
So they're holding their parents' hands, and then my girlfriend jumps out, and then my daughter jumps out, and then I jump out, and I also have a smoke machine. Oh yeah. I got a smoke machine, and just and all this smoke comes, so they can't see shit. And I got all these cobwebs and skulls hanging down. It's like a haunted house. It's terrifying. Yeah, one of the parents came up and goes, I don't know, maybe you should tone it down next year. I'm like, no, we're gonna step it up next year. Yeah, they get the
true rats and true.
Yeah, it's pretty freaky. Are you doing anything for Halloween, you guys?
No, I don't think so. I don't have any especially plans.
No.
Tomorrow I'm going to a party, but it's not Halloween related. It's the premiere of Kalles Galeverden, which is the show of Kalle that the new TV show he has put together.
Yeah.
So that's very cool. And so, but no, I don't think. Perhaps I am going alone. I don't know many people there, so I'll try to keep low profile and not coming as dressed as Halloween since there is no dress code.
Oh.
So I would be very freaked.
Are other people dressing up?
I'm not sure, no. So I will try to be low profile.
Ah, okay. Not like you should go all
that would be
zombie,
very fun,
just
though.
Like, who are you? Like, the zombie.
Is it
the French
Halloween?
zombie. Halloween. Do the kids want to go trick or treating with you though, or anything? Are they like,
I'm
Mom,
not
let's
sure.
go?
Yeah, we should do this. I
Yeah,
don't know.
it's fun.
It is.
Yeah.
But does your neighborhood do it in Oslo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm living next to like the biggest kindergarten in Norway. There's
Okay.
like fucking 500 kids.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, and a lot of the like the classrooms, they'll all get together and then go around.
Okay.
So I'll probably have this haunted house thing open, and then I know my son and his class are coming, and then probably a couple of other classes, and we have the pumpkins and everything.
Cool. That's very cool.
I just want to scare children. I just want to because when you think about it, you can't really scare kids in real life except for Halloween. You know what I mean? That's the one, and they all love it. Like they're terrified, but
super excited.
Exactly.
And then they will tell the story for months afterwards.
I wasn't even gonna do it, but they decided that I was doing it. Like the class, I'm like, you're doing it, right? We're coming. See you at 6 o'clock. I'm like, I guess I'm fucking doing it.
On Friday, or is it on Monday?
It's on Sunday.
On Sunday.
Halloween is actually on Monday.
But everybody celebrates on Sunday.
Yeah, at least this kindergarten is.
Okay.
So I'm setting it up for them and then some other kids in the neighborhood. Okay. I'm gonna terrify them. Just fucking.
Okay, that sounds fun.
It's fun. Yeah, it's fun. Let's wrap it up. It's time to pick up the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, not too long, but yeah, it would be nice.
Yeah, for sure. I just want to say thank you so
Thank
much
you,
for being a
Inia.
guest. Did you have a good time?
I loved it.
Awesome.
No, but thank you very much. That was super cool. Thank you for the possibility.
Yeah. It was just fun hanging out.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks so much for being a guest. Bye, ladies and gentlemen.
Bye bye.
Mwah. Happy Halloween. Arr.